Why did you choose Jamie, your friend?
He was the easiest out of anybody because he would have followed me because we're such good friends.
Why did you make the suggestion to Jamie to go inside the school today?
I was planning to murder him.
Do you know why you were going to do this?
No, I don't.
This is 14-year-old Michael Hernandez. He's an honor roll student at Southwood Middle School, the well-behaved son of a business owner and an occupational therapist, and as of right now, he's the prime suspect in the cold-blooded murder of his close friend and schoolmate, 14-year-old Jaime Goff. Detectives would get the answers they're looking for, but only after enduring one of the most spine-chilling interrogations they would ever conduct. The following footage revealing a 14-year-old killer has never been seen before. February 3, 2004 started like any other Tuesday at Southwood Middle School in Miami, Florida. Students gathered outside of the school to meet up with friends, socialize, and wait for the doors to open at 8:50 a.m. No one thought much of it when two particular students weren't at their usual meeting spot by the teacher's parking lot that morning. The doors opened and students flooded inside. Before classes started, a student decided to make a pit stop to the boys' bathroom on the second floor of the school. He couldn't have known just how traumatic this decision would turn out to be. Upon entering, another student whom he didn't recognize calmly walked past him and exited the restroom. He observed a single black book bag sitting near the entrance of the bathroom and specks of blood dotting the floor. He peeked underneath the stalls to check if anyone was inside. There was indeed someone else in the bathroom, but something was terribly wrong. A large pool of blood was forming on the floor inside one of the stalls, and there appeared to be a pair of feet hanging down from the toilet. He swiftly exited the bathroom to advise a nearby security guard that there appeared to be someone bleeding inside the boys' bathroom. The guard simply brushed him off and told him to go to class. He then went and told a friend what he'd seen. Together, the two boys proceeded back into the bathroom. The stench of warm blood had begun to fill the small latrine. The pair tiptoed cautiously toward the stall. They knew they had to look inside. They prepared themselves for the worst, then hesitantly inched the stall door open. The scene before them could only be described as nightmarish. A male student, later identified as 14-year-old Jaime Goff, was covered in blood and unresponsive. He was positioned face down, his chest and torso lying across the toilet seat, while his head and legs hung limply over the sides of it. Blood streamed down his face and into a large pool that was forming on the floor beneath his head. In that pool lay a lone pair of black glasses. One of the boys shouted to the victim twice. When they got no reply, shock turned into panic. The two fled the bathroom in hysterics, startling the security guard in the hallway. This time, alarmed by the students' clear distress, the guard rushed into the boys' bathroom. Upon witnessing the grotesque scene, he immediately radioed the Miami-Dade Police Department. The guard then left the bathroom to retrieve the assistant principal. Upon returning, the guard discovered that, in the few minutes he'd been absent from the bathroom, someone had come in and removed the victim's body from the toilet. The body was now lying face up on the stall floor, his arms splayed out to the sides. School personnel could now clearly see that one side of his neck was shredded to pieces. The school was immediately put on lockdown. A few hours later, investigators entered the classroom of 8th grade student Michael Hernandez, who'd been identified by one of the two witnesses as the boy they'd seen exit the bathroom that morning. Michael's teacher approached detectives first, with a few pieces of interesting information. She stated that she let her students into the classroom at 8:55 a.m., and since that time, Michael had requested to go to the bathroom 3 times. The teacher observed that Michael had blood on his shirt, which he attributed to a nosebleed. He made 2 trips to the bathroom before 9 a.m. After the school went into lockdown, Michael requested to go to the bathroom a 3rd time, wherein his teacher summoned a security guard to escort him to an unoccupied restroom and back to class. This was reportedly the last time Michael had left the classroom. Michael was taken to an office on the 1st floor of the school to speak with detectives. When investigators inquired as to how Michael got blood on his shirt, he told them that he'd been hit in the face by a door while horseplaying with the victim earlier that morning. The detective examined Michael's face but found no open wounds that he could have bled from. Michael quickly changed his story. He claimed he'd gone back to the second-floor bathroom where he'd parted ways with Jaime earlier. When he entered the restroom, there was already another student inside that Michael wasn't familiar with. The student advised Michael that there was someone inside one of the stalls. That's when Michael got down close to the floor to look underneath. When he bent down, his shirt grazed the floor and got blood on it. However, he did in fact see his friend Jaime inside the stall. After that, he simply left the bathroom and went to class. After collecting Michael's statement, a consensual search of Michael's book bag was conducted. What they found inside told an even more shocking story than the one Michael had just spun. Inside the bag was a red jacket and 2 latex gloves, both with traces of blood on them. The detective asked Michael to accompany him to the station, to which Michael agreed. A little after 1:40 p.m., Michael was transported to the Miami-Dade Homicide Bureau office. Here, he regaled detectives with an entirely different tale. The version you're about to see is more twisted and disturbing than anything detectives had heard so far. The following never-before-seen footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor, a licensed attorney and former prosecutor, and a licensed clinical psychologist.
Ready?
Yeah.
Please raise your right hand when I swear you in. All right. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you trial?
Yes, I do.
Though he is a minor at 14 years old, Michael is being questioned alone and without his parents, because in Florida, the law allows minors to be interviewed without parental consent or their presence in the interrogation. However, parents can request a lawyer or stop the questioning on behalf of a minor at any time. These laws can vary by state, as some states do require parental consent.
Mike, just do me a favor. When you talk clearly so that Mr. Renee can understand you. Okay? All right. For the record, could you please state your name?
Michael Hernandez.
Mike, what's your birth date?
February 2nd, 1990.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
So you just turned 14.
Yes, I did.
Very good. And what grade are you in?
I'm in the 8th grade.
Michael is being very cooperative and well-mannered during the preliminary questioning. He articulates well and answers the detective's questions clearly. His posture mimics that of an attentive student. He's sitting up straight, his hands folded in front of him, and his eyes keenly fixed on the detective. His body language conveys respect and a willingness to be compliant. However, we'll soon see that his motives are actually much darker.
What school do you go to?
Southwood Middle School.
And are you in any special classes or anything? Any honors classes?
I'm in gifted.
Gifted.
All my classes are gifted except for my electives.
Very good. You can read and write the English language, correct?
Yes, I can.
And what are your grades in school, Mike?
A's and B's.
Michael appears proud to talk about his exceptional performance in school. Being a gifted student seems to be a big part of Michael's identity.
Do you know an individual by the name of Jaime or Jamie Goff?
Yes, I do.
The J in Jaime here is pronounced with an H sound, like it would be pronounced in Spanish. But Michael and the detective pronounce Jaime with the J sound. At the mention of the victim's name, Michael's cool demeanor slips very subtly. For the first time, he seems to hesitate before answering the question.
Yes, I do.
His hands make a slight movement, as if he's trying to talk with them, but doesn't exactly know how.
And how do you know Jamie?
We've been friends since the 7th grade.
And for the record, Jamie is the victim in this case. How old is Jamie?
14.
And you're 14 also.
Yes.
How much older is he than you?
I'd say about 4 months. Let's see. 4 months. Almost 4. Give or take a few days.
Okay. All right.
Normally, detectives ask a suspect very open-ended questions like, "Tell me what you did this day." But here, the detective is using a lot of leading questions, which may be due to Michael's very young age.
And what time did you get to school?
8:25, a little after, between 9 and 8:30.
And when you arrived at school, where did you go to?
I went to the fence on the outside of the parking lot, north of the parking lot.
And why is that?
That's just where me and some other people would just hang out.
And this would be before class?
Yes, before class.
And who were the people that you would hang out with in the morning?
Most of the time it'd be with Jamie Goff, Andre Martin, and myself. And sometimes there were some other people, but they didn't hang out with us. They just were there.
Okay. Today,
Yes.
who did you meet at the fence?
I met Jamie Goff.
And how did Jamie seem this morning?
He seemed like he normal hall, like he does every morning.
Did you make any suggestions to Jamie that you and him go into the school early this morning?
Yes, I did.
And about what time was that you suggested that both of you go inside?
A little after 8:30, maybe like 8:31 or 35, between those times.
What time does school open and are students allowed inside the school?
8:50.
Did Jamie agree to your suggestion to go inside when you made that to him?
We had to make a deal first because he didn't want to get in trouble because we've gotten in trouble on previous times when we've attempted to go up there.
And why do you get in trouble for attempting to go inside the school?
Because it's too early and we shouldn't be walking around upstairs. And
I see. Why did you make the suggestion to Jamie to go inside the school today?
I was planning to murder him.
Michael answers this question as matter-of-factly as he's answered all the other questions so far. There's not a single hint of empathy or remorse to be found. He seems undeterred, even by the fact that he's admitting to first-degree murder and exposing himself to the highest level of criminal penalty there is. Michael likely isn't aware of this, but under Florida state law, 14 and 15-year-olds can be tried as adults for certain felonies. They can also be subjected to the exact same penalties that an adult can receive, with the exception of the death penalty. Since Michael has already confessed to the first-degree murder of his friend, all that's left is to see if the court will possibly take pity on him.
Do you know why you were going to do this?
No, I don't.
Now, what was your plan? How were you going to accomplish this?
I was going to get him into the stall, the last stall, because it's the biggest, so I'd have more room.
Now, this is in a restroom?
This is the restroom.
On which floor?
Second floor.
Okay, and it's the male restroom?
Yes, it is.
Where is it near?
It is near the media center and the gifted U.S. history class.
Okay. And once you brought or got Jamie in there, how are you going to bring him or lure him into the restroom?
We usually go to the restroom after we get upstairs so we don't get caught by security.
Okay.
And so I knew that was going to work. I got him into the stall by saying, look, I have something to show you. So I got him into the stall and I told him to turn around because I wanted it to be a surprise. Before that, I put on the gloves. He saw me put on the gloves and I said,
Oh, you're going too fast.
And I said, I like them because they're comfortable.
It's possible that Michael's cadence has increased here due to his excitement to talk about the crime for the first time. Retelling a story can be a way for someone to relive an experience, and it often brings back feelings associated with the original event. His fast talking could also be due to his eagerness to show how smart he was in preparing for this crime. He may be seeking admiration from the detective for how well he planned his attack. Michael's enthusiasm is also evidenced in his full cooperation when being questioned, appearing like he's sitting for a job interview instead of an interrogation. It's odd that he doesn't seem afraid or bothered at all that he's sitting there because he's been caught for the murder of his friend.
Now, you also said that you put on gloves. What kind of gloves were these?
They were latex gloves.
Where did you get them from?
My mother purchased them at Walgreens the previous night.
Why did she purchase these? Was that at your request?
It was at my request because I said that I needed them for extra credit for my science class.
There's no denying at this point that Jaime's murder was premeditated. More disturbingly, it seems that Michael mapped out every single detail and accounted for almost all possible factors before executing his plan. A thorough search of Michael's backpack yielded a secret compartment that he'd made by cutting a slit in the inner lining and attaching Velcro along the edges of it so that it could be secured shut. He'd used this compartment to store the murder weapon. meaning Michael had even planned for the possibility of his backpack being searched.
Now, you and him are already in the stall, correct?
Yes.
Did he go into the stall first?
Yes.
Did you follow him?
Yes, I did.
Did you close the stall door?
Yes, I did.
Now, what transpired next?
Okay. I was talking to him and I told him, all right, now I have to put my hand over your mouth.
Okay.
And so I did, and I lifted his neck up.
Now, was he facing you or was he away from
He
you?
was away from me.
Did you put your hand over his mouth?
Yes, I did.
And which hand did you use to put over his mouth?
My left hand.
Once you did that, what happened next?
I had already before I put my hand over his mouth, I already put my knife out. So the blade was already out.
Now, where had you kept this blade?
I had kept it in my jacket pocket.
And what color jacket did you have on today?
I had a red jacket.
Now, is this the same clothing that you're wearing?
Yes.
The detective is asking Michael a lot of control questions, meaning questions he already knows the answer to in order to see if Michael is being truthful with him. He's also asking him questions to see if they corroborate with the evidence they have already ascertained.
And what did you do next?
I took the knife out and I proceeded to slit his throat.
Now, do you remember in which direction you slit his throat?
Left to right.
Michael is able to recall the details of the murder extremely well, even noting the direction in which he slit his friend's throat. This is significant because it indicates that Michael didn't dissociate at all during the act. Some offenders black out while committing a particularly heinous crime due to the extreme stress of the situation. Michael, however, was keenly aware of exactly what he was doing, from beginning to end. This idea is especially haunting when you learn exactly what Michael did to his young schoolmate. An autopsy of the victim's body concluded that, in addition to his throat being slit, Jaime had been stabbed in the neck over 40 times. It's gut-wrenching to think that Michael, a 14-year-old child, was in complete control the entire time, savoring every single jab, slice, and cut.
Did Jamie say or do anything? Did he put up a struggle?
Yes, he did. He turned around after I did that. He asked me not to kill him. So I told him, okay, I'm not going to if you cooperate.
Okay.
Which was a lie.
Right.
And so I realized that the stall door was open, so I locked it.
Yes.
And then I turned him around again and proceeded to stab him.
And where did you stab him, Mike?
I'm not positively sure, but I'm guessing around the jugular vein right around here. That's
Okay.
what I was aiming for.
Did you stab him anywhere else on his body?
Just basically the back of the neck, all through the neck.
Okay.
And once in the temple, and I think I sliced him here.
And that would be on the left side of his face?
Yes, the left side of the face.
Michael is speaking very matter-of-fact and openly. He's likely excited to show the detective how clever he was. This may have overshadowed any thoughts of self-preservation, as he readily admitted to killing Jaime. He may be either unaware of or unconcerned about the legal consequences for his actions. In addition, his young age may have played a role in his readiness to confess. The prefrontal cortex does not fully develop until around the age of 25. Michael may still be feeling amped up and powerful after the murder, and is acting on that emotion which may make him want to brag about what he did, rather than consider the fallout for his confession.
Now, after you did that, what happened?
I took my gloves off and I flushed them down the toilet.
Okay.
Okay. I left and I went to go clean myself off. People were coming in, and so I left that bathroom and went to the other one downstairs.
Okay, let me stop you here. After you stabbed him, did Jamie fall to the commode or to the toilet?
No, he did not. He was already positioned where he was found. I put his head under there to stop him from gasping for air.
Okay.
So it would close it up and
Oh, I see. Okay,
stop
now.
making noise.
I'm sorry?
So he would stop making noise.
Okay. Now, how did you know he was dead?
I made sure by taking my knife, the point of my knife, and poking him in the face.
All
And I
right.
checked his eyes also, and they were motionless.
Okay. Now, when he fell, was he on his front or was he on his side or on his back? Do you remember?
He was on his front,
Okay.
faced at a kind of diagonal thing.
Yes.
There was blood coming from his mouth
Mm-hmm.
to the right of the toilet. And I guess there might have been blood in the toilet. And there was blood on the walls.
All right. What did you do with the knife and the jacket?
I put the knife was broken because of the stab wounds, and I couldn't close it back. So I closed it as much as I could, and I put it in my jacket pocket.
Okay.
I proceeded to go to the sink, and I wiped some of the blood off the jacket, took the jacket off. No, I did not.
Oh.
When Michael is told to slow down here, he seems to be getting carried away as he's telling a story. Overall, both his affect and tone appear markedly blunted throughout. While his speech speeds up either from anxiety or excitement, there's no major change as he talks about going to get the gloves versus viciously stabbing his friend, or even realizing he's dead.
It was at my request because I said that I needed them for extra credit for my science class. I took the knife out and I proceeded to slit his throat. I did not take the jacket off at that point. I just wet it to get the blood off.
Okay.
I proceeded to go downstairs to the other bathroom on the first floor. I then wiped myself off with all the stuff off my face and the stuff off my jacket. Then I took the jacket off and put it in my book.
Now, you said that you had flushed some gloves down the toilet.
There were two. I flushed 2 gloves.
2 gloves. How many pair of gloves did you have?
I had 2 pair, 4 gloves in all.
Where did you keep the other pair of gloves?
In the jacket pocket where I kept the knife.
All right. Now, before you gloved up this morning in the bathroom, did you remove any of your jewelry?
I removed my rings because they would have cut through the latex glove.
Okay. Did anything unusual, or did you notice anything unusual when you put your hand in your jacket pocket after the incident?
Yes, one of my rings was missing.
And which ring was that?
It was the ring on my right ring finger.
So, what did you do?
I went back upstairs to find the ring. There was a witness there saying that someone was in that stall.
The way Michael refers to a witness is an indication that he may have strategically and specifically planned the entire murder, considering the possibility of witnesses being present or interfering in some way. He's speaking as if he's a law enforcement official describing or examining this case, rather than the perpetrator describing his own acts.
I went to go look, having known what was there. And I saw my ring and picked it up and then left.
Okay. Had you gone up there actually to check to see if Jamie was okay?
No, I have not. No, I did not.
It was strictly to check on your ring?
My ring, yes.
And why did you want to recover your ring?
Because I value my jewelry.
Okay.
It's very interesting to note how much more Michael's ring meant to him than his dying friend. This detail speaks volumes about exactly how Michael's mind works, namely that he possesses a disturbing disregard for the lives of others.
Do people know that you wear that type of ring?
Yes, many people know I wear this type of jewelry.
Could someone have identified you because of the lost ring?
Yes, they could have identified this ring, definitely.
Okay. When you went back upstairs to go back or into the bathroom to look for your ring,
Yes.
who is the individual that told you someone was in the stall?
I'm not sure of his name.
Had you had planned to do this to Jamie?
Yes, I did.
How long have you had this plan?
A little under a week.
And is there any specific reason why you planned this?
No, there's not.
Perhaps the most spine-chilling detail of all, Michael likely killed his friend purely for personal satisfaction. Michael, who had just celebrated his 14th birthday the previous day, had absolutely no reason to commit murder that morning. He simply decided that he wanted to. A situation such as this can reasonably be explained by a bout of severe psychosis. However, he doesn't present as a person who has psychosis based on his behavior during the interrogation. Michael seems to be thinking clearly and logically. There are no indications that he is responding to internal stimuli, such as voices in his head or unseen figures. There's no evidence of paranoia or delusions. Therefore, there is no evidence of a thought disorder. Michael's heightened intelligence and composure, as well as his blatant lack of remorse, are reminiscent of someone with antisocial personality disorder. However, an ASPD diagnosis cannot be given to anyone under 18. We cannot conclude that Michael has ASPD or psychopathy, the term often used to describe the most severe type of antisocial personality, not only because we don't have enough information about Michael's symptoms and history, but also because Michael is only 14 years old and too young to be given such a diagnosis. At most, Michael's behaviors align with a diagnosis of conduct disorder, particularly since he has a history of taunting and physically assaulting peers, which you'll hear more about later. However, if we suspend the fact that he cannot be diagnosed, his matter-of-fact demeanor could be due to the presence of psychopathy, as he has a lack of reciprocal emotion. A psychopath can be asked about a person they murdered and show no emotional response or reaction when they are shown pictures of the person or when they are told that the person likely suffered. In other words, they don't respond with an emotion that matches the circumstance.
Why did you choose Jamie, your friend?
He was the easiest out of anybody because he would have followed me because we're such good friends. And I knew he would have followed me in there and done what I would have said.
Okay. Now, I asked you about an individual named Andre Martin.
Yes.
Do you know Andre?
Yes, I do.
How old is Andre?
He is 13.
What grade is Andre in?
He's in 8th grade.
Is he a friend of yours?
Yes, he is.
Is he in any of your classes?
No, he's not.
How long have you known Andre?
I have known him since about the 4th or 5th grade.
And I know you told me earlier that usually you and Andre and Jamie hang out.
Yes, at the north part of the parking lot.
At the fence, correct. Calling your attention to yesterday, Monday, your birthday.
My birthday.
Did there come a time when you approached Andre with the same type of ruse?
Yeah, yes, there was. Me, Andre, Jamie, and myself were in the bathroom.
Which bathroom?
We were in the other bathroom than where the victim was found today.
Referring to Jaime as the victim may be evidence of how detached Michael feels from someone who was supposedly his friend. He may be unable to or have difficulties with forming real emotional attachments to other people. This phrasing could be another indication of psychopathy, as it shows Michael has a lack of prosocial emotions. Empathy and emotional attachment are considered prosocial emotions, which are things psychopaths struggle with feeling. This is why they often present as emotionally detached, distant, and indifferent, because they're apathetic to society and to people and situations in general. The fact that psychopaths are emotionally detached helps them to stay calm in situations that would cause the average person to feel afraid or nervous, such as in an interrogation or the act of committing murder.
What were your intentions yesterday?
My intentions yesterday were to kill Andre. The same way that I killed Jamie today, except for the fact that I was going to stab him in the back and stab here, and that would have been it.
Who was this you were going to do it to?
I was going to do this to Andre.
Michael seems almost enthusiastic about the opportunity to disclose every meticulously planned detail of how he was going to kill both of his friends. The animated way in which he illustrates his master plan to the detective indicates that he's relishing the opportunity to divulge his wicked scheme, and even enjoying the attention he's receiving. Whatever his motivation, Michael seems extremely invested in this experience of being involved in a real criminal proceeding. These are several more signs of possible antisocial personality disorder. From a legal perspective, his intention to cruelly execute multiple people could be used as evidence that Michael is, essentially, a serial killer in the making. The prosecution could argue that a life sentence is necessary in order to protect potential victims of a future serial killer.
Earlier you told me that you had a belt and you were going to strangle someone.
Yes, I was going to strangle him first, and then after he was dead, I was going to make sure by stabbing him.
Okay, and this was Andre.
This was Andre.
Now, did you lure him into the bathroom yesterday?
Into the bathroom, yes, not the stall.
Okay. And how did you accomplish that?
The bathroom?
Yes.
We were late to class. I told them both that we were gonna be late to class. And so we snuck upstairs after the late bell had rung. We got to the bathroom and I was trying to convince Andre to go into the stall.
Okay. And how were you going to do that?
I told him that I had something to show him.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was his response to that?
His response, he didn't want to do it, so he said no. He's like, why can't Jamie go first? My response then was that he's gonna go next.
Okay. Now, did Jamie agree? Did Jamie say, I'll come in, I'll look?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And what did you say at that point?
I said no, he's gonna go first.
Okay. And any particular reason why?
I wanted to get Andre killed first before
Okay.
I got Jamie.
All right. Now, when that did not happen yesterday, what did you end up telling Andre and Jamie?
Michael is taking up a lot of space on the table with his arms and hands. This could be indicative of confidence and feeling in control of the conversation, or at the very least, feeling at an equal level as the detective.
I said, all right, are you gonna guys cooperate tomorrow? They're like, yeah, okay, we'll cooperate tomorrow.
All right.
Michael's word choice here says a lot about his relationship with his friends at school. When Andre refuses to go into the stall with him the day prior, Michael asks his friends if, in his own words, they'll cooperate with him the next day instead, to which they both agree. The way he speaks to his friends indicates that Michael was likely the authority figure in his friend group, and that his friends regularly felt like they had to obey him. That might explain why he thought he could easily lure them both to a horrific fate. Sadly, Michael was right about Jaime, but clearly underestimated Andre.
Today, before this happened to Jamie, what were your intentions going to be if Andre should have shown up?
I would have talked him into coming to the bathroom with me, coming into the stall. Then I would have proceeded to slit his throat and stab him continuously until he died in the neck area.
Yes.
And then I would have left him there.
Yes.
And gone back downstairs and talked Jamie into coming upstairs. Lured him into the other bathroom and slit his throat and stabbed him in the neck.
Okay. Now, Mike, where did you get this knife from?
I have a knife collection.
Uh-huh.
I've been collecting knives, and as I said, my dad has a store, and so I asked him for some knives. This was before I was gonna do this.
Yes.
And I asked him for some knives. He's like, all right, you can take them, because I wanted a not switchblade, but like a knife that can come out
I
easily.
think they call them gravity knives.
Michael had exhibited several warning signs of concerning behavior prior to the murder, most of which detectives won't discover until they speak with more of Michael's schoolmates over the next few days. Students reported that Michael demonstrated an intense interest in all things gore and death. Even the screensaver on his computer at school featured a scary creature covered in blood, which had caught the attention of other classmates. Michael also had a history of teasing and physically assaulting his peers. He'd been reprimanded in the past for mocking and hitting a couple of female classmates. He was also known to poke and chase other kids with a screwdriver that he kept in his backpack.
Let me ask you this. Is there any particular reason why you did this to Jamie?
No, there's not.
Did he offend you in any way?
No, he did not.
Did he harm you in any way?
No, he did not.
Mike, you know the difference between right and wrong, correct?
Yes, I do.
Do you think what you did is right or wrong?
No, I don't.
Well, what don't you think?
I think it is neither right, but I don't think it was wrong.
Do you know what you did is wrong?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The fact that Michael is saying that he doesn't think what he did was right or wrong shows us that he must have come up with his own explanation or justification for what he did. Had the detective probed further, we may have gotten more information about why Michael believes that killing Jaime wasn't necessarily wrong. This could have possibly revealed some delusional thinking. Michael said himself that Jaime didn't do anything to him, so for Michael to believe that what he did wasn't wrong means that he likely has some type of unconventional belief about taking someone else's life.
Is this the first time that you have been involved in something like this, Michael?
Yes, it is.
you sorry that this happened today?
No, I'm not.
And this was an unprovoked attack on Jamie?
Yes, it was.
Sir, has everything you told me been true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it has.
Have I forced you to give this statement, sir?
No, you have not.
Have I treated you gentlemanly?
Yes, you have.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Okay.
Following his interrogation, Michael was transported to the Juvenile Assessment Center. Michael stood trial 4 years later, pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. At his trial, a particularly startling piece of evidence was brought forth, a notebook of Michael's that contained information about famous serial killers, a list of people he planned to kill, including his older sister, and a mission statement that declared his need to cleanse the planet by murdering people. Needless to say, the jury took no pity on him. On September 24, 2008, Michael Hernandez was found guilty of the first-degree murder of Jaime Goff and the attempted first-degree murder of Andre Martin. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 30 years for the attempted murder charge. 8 years later, in an unforeseen turn of events, a Supreme Court ruling made it unlawful to automatically sentence a minor to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Michael appealed and was retried in 2016. He was again sentenced to life in prison and returned to the Columbia Correctional Institute to serve the remainder of his sentence. However, Michael wouldn't remain in prison very long. On April 29, 2021, Michael suddenly collapsed and shortly thereafter was pronounced dead. His cause of death was noted as cardiac dysrhythmia, or an irregular heartbeat, in connection with morbid obesity. Michael died at the age of 31 after having spent a total of 13 years in prison.